absolutely magnificent. If it's as good as this, you'll be doing well. A few years ago, blackened fish was really the go, wasn't it? Actually, it might have been more than a few years ago. Very popular. Every time you went to a restaurant, they had blackened fish, which, of course, is a creation from New Orleans. And I've actually cooked dishes of his before, but Paul Prudhomme is the man who created it. I think what happened, I think why it sort of disappeared, was people started using the bought blackened mix, and some of them weren't very good. So it sort of went out of flavour, I suppose, or out of fashion. Anyway, I'll show you how to make the proper blackened fish mix. First of all, a good tablespoon of paprika. Now, I use smoked paprika. You can use normal. And also a good tablespoon of sea salt, a good tablespoon of onion powder, half a tablespoon of garlic powder, about a teaspoon, not too much, of cayenne, and a half a tablespoon of dried oregano and dried thyme, and also some black pepper. And that's all there is to that mix, so there's nothing terribly complicated about it. You just have to have a good supply of herbs and spices, I suppose. And then you just mix that up. I know when I went to K. Paul's in New Orleans, which is Paul Prudhomme's restaurant, and I think I've done a gumbo from there fairly recently. But anyway, I'm digressing. When I went there, the whole place smelt of blackened fish because everyone was eating it. This is a number of years ago now, admittedly. The other thing that you use for it is you use ghee. Now, ghee is basically clarified butter, and we put a decent spoon of that in a non-stick pan. And when I say a decent spoon, I really do mean it. And we've got our fish. What we've got here is some beautiful looking groper. Now, doesn't that look good? You don't want your fish too thin because you do want to get that nice crust on it. And I better get some tongs out so that I can pull it out, hadn't I? Now, I know I've got some tongs there. They're right there. So we melt that. And while that's happening, let's start thinking about coating our fish in that mix. Coat it all around, and we'll put it in there. Now, you don't want it smoking. You do want it hot, but you don't want it sort of, you know, going all over the place and bubbling like Vesuvius, because what will happen then is you will burn rather than toast the spices. And the main aim is to toast the spices, isn't it? Yes, it is, Ian. I'm starting answering myself. That's a scary thought. Bad enough asking myself questions, let alone answering them. Is that the first sign of some strange madness, is it? Most probably is. Now, you serve it with something plain, so I'm just boiling some potatoes over here because you've got a really quite assertive mix on that fish, so you don't want anything complicated. So just some plain boiled potatoes, and let's now have a look. It's getting a nice colour without burning, so we'll turn it down a little bit. And once you've done that, what you start doing then, you start basting it with that spice and ghee mix. All right, just turn that down even a bit more. Because as I said, the last thing you want to do is burn the spices, but it is called blackened fish, so therefore you do want them to be really nicely toasted, don't you? Now, just while that's happening, all I'm going to do is just cut a wedge of lemon ready to serve. And I've also got some yogurt there, to which I've added some mint and some fresh lemon juice. So pretty simple stuff. I reckon we're looking pretty good there now. So to me, let's just start thinking. Just be a bit careful because it's a fairly flaky fish. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab a fish slice because I can see it's going to break up if I don't. Even then it may. And let's just get it onto our plate. Well, one in a row. I'll just give it another little shove. All right, we only need 2 pieces, I think. Now just put the lemon wedge there. Just grab a couple of these potatoes, as I said. Keep them nice and simple. Just some boiled baby potatoes. And last but not least, a good dollop of that mint and lemon yogurt. And I said last but not least, but we always know what is actually last. Iain grabbing a chucks and cleaning up the mess he's made. All right, guys, blackened fish, it's pretty simple stuff. It's a terrific dish. Make your own mix. You'll find it's 10 times as good as most of the bought ones. And just serve it simply, as I said, with some boiled potatoes, a lemon wedge, a little bit of that yogurt on top. You make it that one step better. But it's always been a ripper dish, and it's very tasty, and it's a shame it's got out of fashion. It's time it came back. Now, just in case you think we're making spelling mistakes with that BLLT, the reason it's bacon, lettuce, lamb and tomato, rather than BLT, which is bacon, lettuce and tomato. Aren't you glad I explained that to you? I'm just making a really nice sandwich, basically. That's what it is. Now, just let's have a look around here. This is a back strap of lamb, which is the bone loin. Now, the butcher will trim it completely for you, so it's a great cut to use. We've got some bacon. We've got some homemade mayonnaise. Now, I've shown you how to make that a million times. And there's also some homemade ketchup. If you are a ketchup person or you make your own chutney or whatever, use those. They're absolutely brilliant. And we've got, obviously, of course, we've got lettuce and tomato to go with it. All right. Now, let's just throw some bacon on the grill. I just want to rest my lamb just briefly. And I'm just going to make one at this stage. But there's certainly enough ingredients for 4. So that can go on there. So one nice rasher of bacon. We'll also start thinking the bread. I've got some really nice sourdough here.
Your time starts now.
It has to be beautiful.
From the makers of the Great British Bake Off comes a precision baking challenge like nothing on earth.
Bring me something to wow me.
There's no place for half-baked showstoppers here. Just the best pastry chefs going round.
Time is up.
New host, new judges, new season. Bake Off, The Professionals. Starts Tuesday, 8:30 on Lifestyle Food.
It's everything that you'd ever want a mother to be.
She loves absolutely everything and everyone for who they are.
Everything that we have now, she has made out of nothing.
Donate to Breast Cancer Institute of Australia and give the best Mother's Day gift of all.
Sunday, 8:30.
There isn't a person alive who hasn't benefited from your mother's cells.
What you don't understand is we didn't know nothing about nothing.
Oprah Winfrey and Rose Byrne in an HBO original film.
You famous, just nobody knows it.
The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks premieres Sunday, 8:30 on Showcase.
Decent slices, please, guys. None of those piddly little thin things. when the bread's really good, you know, you do want a decent amount of it. Now, why did I cut 3? Oh, I know why I cut 3, because one was a bit small. And I'm just going to spray that with some oil. And we're going to grill that. Yes, you can toast it. But I don't seem to have a toaster, do I? Oh, my jokes. They're getting worse, aren't they? Yes, my daughter keeps telling me they're getting worse. And some nice tomato. It's very important that the tomato's decent for this. And do take the core out, of course. I've got some tomato there. I've got some nice crisp lettuce. For this, please don't go using those designer leaves. You want something crisp like cos or iceberg. Today, I'm using iceberg. And then let's just turn that over. I want some crispness and some colour to that, of course. And I'll just put one piece of bread. Actually, I'll put it up there because it doesn't matter if it's got some nice bacon juices, does it? It'll be nice. But I'm only going to do one at this stage because then I do the topping. That's what, because I lost Brendan then. Brendan had gone down to look at the grill when I was doing some lovely... Oh, Iain. Strange people you meet at Southgate, don't you? Actually, I reckon I should come here and work full-time. You know that this is where our kitchen is, you know, Southgate down by the Yarra in Melbourne. And because people keep coming up to me and say, oh, where are the toilets? Where's such and such a shop? Where's the money machine? What are they called? Oh, I can't remember, but anyway. Whatever you get money out of me. And of course I can help them every single time. Right, our bacon's looking pretty good. Don't overcook it because you don't want to dry it out. You know, I hate it when you have bacon and it's really dry. You know, they've cooked it so much. Yes, it's nice and crispy, but it's dry. So let's just wipe that up a bit. And as soon as that's ready, I'll start thinking about what I'm doing. And in fact, I'll just put that on the slow part. Don't you worry about that. I'll start thinking about slicing my lamb. Now, a lamb backstrap like that is certainly enough for 2. And maybe, you know, if you want to be really, and cut it really fine, you'd get 3 out of it. But you do want a bit of pinkness to it like I've got there. And then onto our board, first of all, some of this mayonnaise. Now, I've put quite a bit of mustard in that, and I put a bit of garlic too, but that's just my choice, so it's more of an aioli. So our lettuce, as I said, nice crisp iceberg, tomato. I always believe you need salt on tomatoes, always. And if they're not quite as sweet as you would like them, just put a little bit of sugar on them. It works quite well too. Right, next, let's just start thinking about our lamb. As I said, you don't want it rare, but you do want a bit of pink. Now, I'll just turn that off and pull that piece of bread off. And bacon next. Right, and some of my homemade ketchup. It's actually my mother's recipe, I have to be honest. If you want the recipe, just write in, we'll send it to you, or email us, I should say. I still say write in, you know, it just shows I'm showing my age here, because most people email these days. We do have some of our lovely customers who do still write in, but certainly the majority is on the email. So there you go, guys. BLLT. Not a spelling mistake. A delightful sandwich. If you didn't want to use lamb, of course you could use some beef. Or you can leave the beef out completely and just make a great BLT. But remember, making some sauces like the mayonnaise and the ketchup or a chutney or whatever, making those yourself will make such a difference, absolute difference in it. And particularly in the case of the chutney or the relish, lasts for ages. All right, shut up, Iain, go. I'm going to enjoy this. You will too. Now, every day I come to Southgate to film, I go past this wonderful cupcake shop called Joy. And I am tempted sometimes, but it's normally early in the morning and I feel a bit naughty if I'm buying a cupcake at 9 o'clock in the morning. So today what I was going to do is I thought I might make something with their very special chocolate ones. Hello, darling. Can I have half a dozen of the chocolate cupcakes? Your best half dozen, of course. Always. Thank you. Cheap at half the price. Some beautiful cupcakes here, right? I should have had a collection, shouldn't I? Or a selection, I suppose. I should have really said. There's some lovely mini ones there too. I like the look of those with meringue on top. Thank you very much. Oh, 5 cents. I'll see you later. Bye-bye. All right, I was trying to think what I would do with this, and I just happened to have it all set up. As if I didn't know. Anyway, I've got my cupcakes, and what I'm going to do is make some hot fudge sauce. When I say hot, I'll only serve it warm, but I'm going to make some fudge sauce, and I've also got some beautiful Turkish Delight ice cream from my mate Jock, which is a superb ice cream, because I love Turkish Delight, don't I? Right, let's put a few things into our pot for our fudge sauce. First of all, half a cup of cream. Let's get it all in. And half a cup of brown sugar. And just 5 squares of this good quality cooking chocolate. So only 5. Oh, maybe 6, 7. There's a couple there for me. A couple of tablespoons of unsalted butter. And also a couple of tablespoons, except I haven't got a tablespoon because it's in the cream, a couple of tablespoons of corn syrup. So this is the light corn syrup. You can buy it in specialty stores. And it makes a big difference. Just add some body. Come on, mate, let's go. Doesn't seem to want to come out, does it? I think you might have to squeeze it. There we go. That's what you do. So a couple of generous dessert spoons of corn syrup. Seeing as I used my tablespoon for the wrong thing. So all we're going to do is stir it until the chocolate is melted and the brown sugar has dissolved. You don't want it boiling, you don't need to boil it, but basically all we need to do is melt it, don't we? So you can turn that off because that's actually about ready. And I don't want it too hot because I'm putting ice cream on top of it. And of course it'll melt the ice cream. Right, so we've got our fudge sauce. Now let's think about what I'm going to do with these beautiful, we nearly had a disaster there, boys and girls. Back to what I was saying, let's see what I'm going to do with these beautiful brownies. Leave the icing on. It'll add some extra flavour. And we will just get a really nice bowl like that one there. And all I'm going to do is put a couple of these brownies cut into quarters in the bowl. And then, my friends, pretty simple stuff. Some of this lovely fudge sauce over the top. Now, of course, this is not rich. Not much. Not much. And I do have to say, you need to like chocolate for this, which I do. I'm not a great sweet tooth, but oh, chocolate. That is very much me. Now, I'll just wipe that up quickly with my chucks. And then what we do is just grab our Turkish Delight ice cream. And we've got a good scoop there, so That on top. Oh, I could have done a neater one, couldn't I? And then I've just got some wafers there. So a couple of nice ice cream wafers. It's just not bad, is it? I'll tell you one thing. That will be delicious. Beautiful homemade, because they make them here. Homemade muffins from a terrific shop. Some hot fudge sauce, well, warm fudge sauce. Turkish Delight ice cream and some nice wafers to finish. I think I'm going to enjoy this, because this is for me. I keep wanting to call them muffins, and I think I may have. Of course, the cupcakes, Iain. You silly boy. Now, just before I go, a quote from the very funny Tommy Cooper. I was very pleased with myself. I had just ordered the whole menu in French. The only problem, I was in a Chinese restaurant. See you guys. Hope you've enjoyed today's show.
As the world's most grueling cycling championship races towards another milestone, Eurosport will...